OMAD, 1 meal a day, intermittent fasting. Is it effective, safe, sustainable, or healthy? Is the topic of this video. Hi, I'm Dr. Chan, and questions such as, Doctor, I have just started practicing intermittent fasting. Is it safe or healthy for me to continue doing so for months or years? It's something I hear often from my patients. Intermittent fasting, a dietary practice or lifestyle, has been the rage in recent years, especially amongst people trying to lose weight. Do you practice intermittent fasting too? Why do you practice intermittent fasting? Is it also for weight loss like most people? What version of intermittent fasting do you practice? 16-8, 18-6, 24, OMAD, alternate day fasting, 5-2, or other forms of extended fasting? But in this video, part of a series of videos that I am doing on various topics related to intermittent fasting, I want to focus on sharing my observations on OMAD, the 1 meal a day version of intermittent fasting, and the general advice and words of caution that I would usually give to people, including my patients who tell me that they are practicing intermittent fasting, especially OMAD. If you are interested, watch on. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Chan. I'm a medical doctor from Singapore. I am quite familiar with the topic of intermittent fasting because of my interest in lifestyle medicine and also because of my work conducting lifestyle and diet modification training and coaching programs, as well as my experience in helping my patients to modify and improve their eating habits to better control and combat their diabetes, weight issues, cardiovascular disease, or other lifestyle related chronic conditions. So in the course of my work, I would frequently encounter and have to give advice to many people who on their own accord chose to practice some form of intermittent fasting, regardless of whether I recommended it or not. So let's jump into the topic of today's video, OMAD, 1 meal a day intermittent fasting. Is it effective, safe, sustainable, and most importantly, healthy? For this video, I do not want to geek out on you on the details of the science of intermittent fasting. I just want to focus on simple, practical, but important questions that you should ask before embarking on OMAD or decide to continue practicing OMAD having only 1 meal a day for a long time. Number 1, is it effective? The question should actually be, what is it effective for? What is your goal? If it is for short-term weight loss, it probably would be effective to some degree for most people, because OMAD, 1 meal a day eating pattern, would probably be a very drastic departure from the usual eating patterns for most people. As I said earlier, I do not intend to go into the detailed science behind intermittent fasting and join the debate on the impact of intermittent fasting and OMAD, whether good or bad, on metabolism, carbohydrate tolerance, insulin resistance, etc. I just want to put it to you simply that any dietary practice change that is drastically different from what you normally practice would very likely result in a significant change in your body. So OMAD, eating only 1 meal a day, which would usually translate to a significant or at least some degree of reduction of overall daily caloric intake for most people, would also usually translate to some degree of short-term weight loss. And that degree of weight loss varies from person to person, depending on what that person's eating pattern was before OMAD and how much and what that person eats during OMAD. So I would say OMAD is probably effective for short-term weight loss, at least to some degree for most people. Number 2, is it safe? For this, I would strongly recommend that you speak to and consult your doctor before you embark on OMAD, eating only 1 meal a day, especially if you have some kind of existing medical conditions, and even more so if you are taking any kind of long-term daily medications. At this point, I can already imagine many of you pushing back, saying to me, Doctor, I know of many friends who practice OMAD and also saw many videos on YouTube of people trying OMAD, and it was safe for them. So it should also be safe for me. Why are you recommending that I speak to my doctor before starting on OMAD? Isn't that an overkill? Is that really necessary? My reply to you would be, this is not how science works. Just because it was safe, nothing untoward happened to your friends or the people you saw on YouTube videos practicing OMAD, does not necessarily mean that OMAD is also going to be 100% safe for you. Just because OMAD was safe for most people does not mean that OMAD is also 100% safe for everyone. So I'm still going to stick to my recommendation, however ludicrous that may sound to you. Especially if you have access to a doctor, it would be best that you consult your doctor before starting on OMAD. Number 3, is it sustainable? Meaning, is it possible in a practical sense to practice OMAD for a long time, or even choosing to practice just having one meal a day permanently as a lifestyle choice? Most people, especially those who have not tried OMAD before, would probably think that it is not sustainable. Most people cannot imagine going on just one meal a day for too long. They think that it would be too difficult to do so and would require a lot of discipline. Here's my answer, and my answer might be surprising to most. OMAD, taking just one meal a day. Not that I'm recommending it. I am just sharing from my experience in coaching and advising the many people who on their own chose to practice OMAD. OMAD might actually be quite sustainable for some people. And I am not referring to sustainability in a medical or health sense, but sustainability from a day-to-day practical lifestyle perspective. Quite a number of people I know, especially people who are generally very driven and busy, actually find OMAD very liberating. They find that taking only one meal a day free them from the stress of having to find food 3, 4, even 5 times a day. So whilst many people might find OMAD challenging and not sustainable, there are also many people who think that practicing OMAD, eating only one meal a day, not only sustainable, but actually very convenient, enjoyable and desirable as a lifestyle. But to these people who are planning to practice OMAD for a long time or even as a permanent lifestyle choice for the foreseeable future, I would like to highlight to them and bring them to question number 4 of this video. Is practicing OMAD healthy? For this question of whether OMAD, eating only one meal a day, whether it is healthy or not, I would like to focus the discussion only on the long-term practice of OMAD in terms of months, and especially if it is practiced as a baseline lifestyle choice for a long time. My answer would be, it might not be healthy to do so for most people. My concern is that bar the minority of people who are very disciplined, who have the knowledge of and the time to do detailed meal planning, most people would find it very difficult to ensure that the quality and the variety of the foods that they have in their meals that they eat only once a day would have all the essentials for long-term good health. My experience and observation are that most people would already find eating healthily, even just occasionally, difficult enough. Eating healthily at every single meal, which would be what is required of people who intend to practice OMAD long term, is going to be even more difficult for most people. For an eating habit or eating pattern to be healthy, health promoting in the long run, it must be adequate, have enough quality, balance and variety in terms of all the different macronutrients and micronutrients that are essential for long-term good health. From my observation of people who practice OMAD long term, this is where most of them would fall short, and I am concerned. Because it is so easy to frequently resort to having or settle for an obviously inadequate, poor quality, convenient meal, especially when one gets caught up with the busyness of life, the stresses of life. So on this question of whether OMAD is healthy, I am concerned. I am concerned about the adequacy and the quality of the diets of people who practice OMAD long term. Even if it is just from the pure practical perspective of having to ensure that one single only meal every day has enough quality and variety to meet the essentials for long-term good health. This topic of intermittent fasting, OMAD and its impact on health, is a very big and complex topic with many nuances and caveats that people who intend to try intermittent fasting and especially OMAD need to know before doing so. So for this video, I had intentionally kept it simple because all I had wanted to achieve for this video was to share perspectives that I hope would be useful, food for thought for people who are interested in OMAD. I am still strongly recommending that people should consult their doctor before starting OMAD or any other forms of extended fasting, especially for people who have existing medical conditions or are on long-term daily medications. I hope you have found this video, part of my intermittent fasting series of videos, useful. I am Dr. Chan. Thank you for watching.